Alrighty, so day one of the 30-day Traders Induction. Today we're going to be going into trading and explaining what it is. So without further ado, what is trading day one? Now, to begin with, trading is the idea of buying and selling assets at different price points with the expectation of making a profit. So what I mean by that is buying an asset at a low price to sell it on at a high price, and then on the flip side is selling something at a higher price in order to buy it back at a lower price and making the money on the difference in the price fluctuations. In the world, there's a few different types of markets. The main three, I would say, are the most popular at the moment are the foreign exchange or Forex. We have the stock market and we also have the cryptocurrency market. So the foreign exchange is buying and selling the price fluctuations between the currencies. So, for example, selling the Aussie dollar against the Japanese yen in anticipation of the Aussie dollar becoming weaker against the strengthening of the yen. The stock market is the entire repository of the publicly traded companies listed on the exchanges. So, for example, Apple, Tesla, Nike, and things of that nature. So you're buying the stocks and you're holding them for a longer term profit, to buying them low to selling them high. You've also then got the cryptocurrencies, which deals with things like Bitcoin, XRP, Ethereum, and all the little altcoins and the meme coins that you see all over social media making ridiculous gains. So heading on to the purpose now, why someone would want to be a trader. The main three that I would say are the most important would be profit making. Everyone gets into the markets with the expectation and the anticipation, at the very least, that they're going to make some money. No one goes into the markets with the intention of losing money. So with an environment such as trading and investing where there is no upside cap on how much an individual can make, it's quite the allure for newer participants to come into the markets and recognizing, wow, there's actually a lot of money that can be made there. And it's a really good place also if you've already got capital to further increase the holdings and increase the capital available and make it larger. Independence. So for me, this is probably the most important one for myself. It's what provides me with the biggest drive when it comes to trading in the markets and continuously executing on a daily basis. It's the time independence, the location independence, and the financial independence. It's not having to be anywhere at a certain time, and it's also not having to rely on someone else to pay me. I am my own boss. I do it when I want, where I want, and I pay myself as the market makes money available to me. Now, obviously, there's a little bit of a nuance to that. You can't just go and sporadically trade here and there from everywhere around the world, traveling every day. You need some level of stability and structure within your life in order to continuously, consistently execute at a high level. Now, another way that maybe more pertains to the bigger players would be the hedging. So, for example, if they're holding assets in the real estate market that may be starting to pull back, then they can position their money in different areas within the trading and investing world, such as the spot holding of currencies or holding some stocks, for example, to offset some of those potential drawdowns that may be experienced in other investments. So hedging and diversification, I think I should have probably put as the heading for that one, because what you don't want to do is go all in on Bitcoin and then miss out on the profits on all the other investments sectors in the different worlds, but also what you don't want to do is just have it all in one basket and then price come all the way back to zero, and now you're stuck holding a very heavy bag of your Bitcoin. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket is what I'm trying to say. So hedging and diversification of assets. So the participants in the financial markets specifically, and when it comes to trading, we're talking about the currencies and the stocks and the cryptos and things of that nature. Primarily the retail traders and the institutional traders are the big two that are within the field. Within institutional traders, I think a lot of the olden point and click traders are phased out a lot more of the time in replacement of the fundamental analysts, as well as the algorithmic high frequency trading algorithms that you see in the markets. So retail investors are just individuals like myself and you, whether people with capital, whether a large amount or a small amount, but they just go in for our own personal gain. We've got X amount in our trading account. We're executing markets against our broker to make a little bit of money. Whereas the institutional traders are the big, banks and financial institutions like Berkshire Hathaway and things of that nature, that have a lot of cash that they will be managing for other people. They've got their own investors, their own clientele that they're investing and managing that money accordingly for themselves. So the whales, if you will. Now, how it works in the markets, there's two primary points of action, and the first is the order placement, and then the second is the execution. So in the markets, it's a zero sum game in the sense that for every seller there needs to be a buyer, and for every buyer there also needs to be a seller to take the opposite end of that position, and then you have the broker in the middle, which actually brokers the deal between the two parties and joins them together. So order placement is what we would normally do. We're analyzing a market. We see a signal for our strategy pop up. We go, yep, that's what we want to do. So we submit an order to our broker that this is where we want to buy this asset. And then the broker will come back with an execution and a confirmation statement to say, yep, cool, I've executed you at this market price, on to the next. This is your position, and we'll go from there. So now in terms of the types of strategies and the time horizons that we're looking at when we are trading, there's quite the diverse range of frequencies when it comes to this industry. There's the swing traders, which are executing positions on a longer term. They may be holding things for a couple of weeks to a couple of months, specifically talking the futures contracts. We also have then the day traders, which maybe get out within a couple of days, up a couple of hours to a couple of days. We have the scalpers as well, which are in for maybe minutes or seconds at a time. So it goes up and down the spectrum when we're trading these contracts, in terms of where we're anticipating the market to either move in our favor to the upside, or we're short selling and we're going against it to the downside. So there's some flexibility, which is good, because especially for people that have a full-time job like myself, then there's not this urgency to have to sit there trading all day every day whilst you're at a job, or thinking, fuck, I don't have the time to do this because I've got to do my job, but I have to sit at the charts all day. Well, no, you don't actually have to. That's just one area of trading that can be done, but again, it would require you to be at the charts all day, every day. Whereas on the complete other end of the extreme, the swing traders, they maybe have a look at the watch list in the markets once a week. So it's a very hands-off approach, and you're holding for a bit more of a longer term. So pros and cons to both, benefits and drawbacks to both, and it's about the individual and their context, their life context, that will judge and gauge which type of trading and which type of strategy relative to the time horizons would work best in their given individual circumstances. You also have the spot holders, which is the longer term investments. That's where you're buying the physical token or the physical asset that, or the tangible, I should say, maybe not physical, the tangible asset, the tangible token that you're holding relative to the price of that asset, the price valuation of that asset, with the expectation of it heading to the upside, but also holding the devaluation of that if that is what's to happen. So I would say 90% of the crypto market at the moment is the spot holdings. It's the buying of the Bitcoin, it's the buying of the XRP. You're buying the physical or the tangible Bitcoin to store in your wallet to sell it on at a later date when it gets to $100,000, etc. Whereas as opposed to maybe the swing trading, day trading, we're trading the contract for differences, where we're trading a contract and not necessarily the currency or the stock itself, rather an agreement that the price will be at a different price point in the future. So risk to reward now, this is a huge fundamental concept when it comes to trading and investing, which can very much be applied to the greater life circumstances as well. Like I said, we're all in this market to make money, but we also have to be aware of the downside that is also possible. So when it comes to risk to reward, what we want to do is make sure that we are trading that in a profitable way by making sure that we're hedging our risk and doing everything we can to mitigate as much of our risk as possible, while still trying to allow as great of an upside return or reward as possible. So The rewards in trading, like I was saying the financial, the time and the location, freedom to do whatever it is that you want to do, it is very appealing for myself personally and a lot of other people out there. But to the detriment of maybe the quality time that you have to spend with loved ones because of the work that you need to put in to do it, to make it, to bring it into fruition. Those first few years of stepping into the role as a full-time, consistently profitable trader takes a lot of work. So to the detriment of your social life, and maybe also you're putting in money too soon, and your risk management is not on. So maybe there's a much greater chance of you losing a lot of money because you don't really know what you're doing, or you don't have strict risk management protocols in place to limit those downside risks. So benefits and drawbacks, risks and rewards everywhere, and it's just important to be very aware of the different ways in which they can manifest. So in summary, for day one, we've gone over the definition of trading, which is the buying and the selling of the assets with the expectation that the market will be trading at a different price point relative to where it is now, with the hopes and the expectations of making money. We have the types of markets, which is the stock market, the forex market. We have the cryptocurrency markets and all the different ways in which they work. For example, the cryptocurrency market works relative to the blockchains and the very digitalized tokenage when it comes to the financial side of things. You have the stock market, which is the accumulation and a collection of the publicly traded companies on the exchanges, and then you have the currencies, which is the trading the valuation of each individual currency relative to another one, and trading the fluctuations of the price points there. So why we like to trade, so the purpose, big one for me: financial, time and location independence. Participants, we have the retail, we have the institutional, we have the normal people like us executing, and then you also have the banks and financial institutions, the big boys, the whales. How it works, and that is the zero-sum game with the execution of the orders against a broker who will partner you with someone on the exact opposite end of that trade. Strategy types and time horizons, so we have the swing trading, the day trading, the micro trading, and we have the spot holdings for the longer term. And then risk to reward as a brief principle on understanding that for every reward there is also a risk, and it's our job to make sure that we are not opening ourselves up to too much exposure, whilst making sure that we are able to capture as much of the reward as possible. And that balance is really where the key to this industry and this game comes from. So I hope that was nice and informative for you. That was day one of the induction for the newer traders. I hope you did enjoy this, and if there's any questions or any feedback or key takeaways that you have taken from this video, please leave them in the comments below. Leave a like, subscribe, and I will see you in day two. Until then, have a good day.